Durant with just his second basket. Porter, wild shot, but everything's falling. Why not that one for Porter? Brown alley-oop, deflected by Durant, and it went in the basket. That right there is a microcosm of the entire half. It's a 30-point lead for Denver. As that one spins around and drops, and it's a 32-point lead in a playoff game. I mean, this is not a regular season game in the dog days in late January. This is game 6.
It's one thing to get completely obliterated on your own home court in a Game 7 of a playoff series after having finished with the best record in the regular season and being considered title favorites going into the playoffs. But it's another thing to have that happen yet again, and after going all in by adding one of the best players in the world in Kevin Durant. This was a championship or bust season for the Phoenix Suns after adding KD and trading a massive haul to get him, and the Suns in an elimination game and in embarrassing fashion were non-competitive in a blowout loss. What happened, and what does this mean for the Suns going forward? If you're new to the channel and you like this type of content, then be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. About 95% of you watching are not subscribed, so it would mean a great deal to me if you did sub, and in return I'll be providing more NBA content like this. Now, to be fair to the Suns, and also to the credit of the Denver Nuggets, this is a great Nuggets team. One of the best well-rounded teams in the league. With star power, depth, they play incredible team basketball, and they have one of, if not the best player in the league in Nikola Jokic. People have been underestimating the Nuggets all season. Everyone has been focused on talking about the Suns or the Lakers, Warriors, even the Grizzlies. There's a reason the Nuggets finished with the best record in the Western Conference. They're an incredible team, and unlike the last few seasons, they're finally healthy with guys like Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. in the lineup. So while I know we're being hypercritical here of the Suns, let's not downplay how great the Nuggets have been in this series in limiting one of the most talented teams in basketball from advancing to the conference finals. And then of course the other piece to the Suns' defense, they were banged up, especially in Game 6, no DeAndre Ayton, who, side note, I am convinced has played his last game with the team. I would be shocked if he isn't traded by training camp going into next season, but we'll save that topic for a different day. And then of course, their starting point guard and Chris Paul, who can just never seem to stay healthy when it comes to the playoffs. But for the Suns, you also kind of have to expect that for a player who's 38 years old and is injury prone. High likelihood of something happening to him after a long regular season. But look, at the end of the day, the Suns still had their two best players in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and both of those players absolutely bombed in a winner-go-home Game 6. KD finished off the game okay, but really after it was more or less out of reach. He started off the game going 2 for 13 from the field, didn't take a single three in the game, which again, I don't think I need to emphasize anymore, is so critical in today's NBA to ensure you're taking threes, spacing the floor, not taking inefficient mid-range jumpers, which Kevin Durant is one of the best in the league at doing. He's incredibly efficient in the mid-range, but when the shots aren't going down, it's a problem, especially when you're going up against a team that likes to get quickly down in transition off of a rebound with an incredible rebounder and passer that Jokic is. But as poor of a game as Kevin Durant had, it was nothing compared to the performance we saw from Devin Booker. It's crazy how much of a victim we fall to recency bias as NBA fans, not even just as fans, but the media as well. Just a few days ago, people were comparing Devin Booker to Kobe Bryant and saying how he's quickly risen to being a top 5 player in the NBA. And then, Game 6, season on the line, goes 4 for 13 from the field with 12 points and a minus 27. Yeah, very Kobe-esque. Don't get me wrong, Booker is still an incredible player. He's a superstar and one of the best players in the league, but please do not compare him to Kobe Bryant. Not when this is the second time he's crumbled in an elimination game. By the way, who knew going into the game that Cam Payne would be the best player for the Suns? 31 points on 12 for 16 shooting, the only player that shot the 3-ball well, going 7 for 9. Are you kidding me? But anyway, the Suns are out, and for a team that most considered to be title favorites after they made the trade for Kevin Durant, the question now is what's next? And the biggest challenge for the Suns is their window to win is so small that you could even argue this was their chance to win a title, and it's going to be very hard to do so after it, especially with the limited trade assets they have to work with after trading away 4 first-round picks to the Nets to get Kevin Durant. Which, that's the first problem right there. I still cannot believe they went all in giving up that kind of haul for Kevin Durant, when really, I don't think the market for KD was that high, especially knowing he wanted out after Kyrie Irving was traded. I get it, it's still Kevin Durant, and you have to take a shot at landing a player of his caliber, and if you want to get him, you kind of have to give up a lot in order to do that. But 4 first-round picks, which most of those are unprotected, and not even just 4 first-round picks, they gave up 2 quality young players that actually gave the Suns depth to their roster, which now they are severely lacking, in Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, who Bridges in particular I personally think is one of the more underrated players in the league with his growing 2-way potential. And while I know some will say, well, Who cares about the draft picks? The NBA draft is a crapshoot anyway, which I do agree. It is a crapshoot, and it's very possible all of those picks could amount to nothing for the Brooklyn Nets. But it's more so the fact that by trading away all of those picks, the Suns now have little to work with in the form of trading for meaningful upgrades to their roster. Because of the Stepien rule, they're not able to trade any first-round picks until 2031, which the value of said picks, when they're that far out into the future, goes down significantly for teams wanting those picks. And then the other challenge, you've got an aging team, aging stars that are under contract that would otherwise be hard to move. Now, the Suns do have a lot of free agents, but they're all role players on low contracts, which don't free up a lot of cap space on their books for a team that is already operating over the cap and actually paying into the luxury tax. As of right now, going into next season, they've got $165 million guaranteed on the books, which already puts them over the cap. They do have partial guarantees to both Chris Paul and Cam Payne, which they're going to need to decide on whether to fully guarantee those deals or waive or trade them to get the non-guaranteed amount off their cap sheet. And their longest guaranteed contracts, of course, are to Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton, who they have on the books through 2026, and Devin Booker through 2028. Now, as I've said before, their biggest trade asset right now is DeAndre Ayton, who I fully expect to be moved sometime this offseason. The problem, though, is that while he is their biggest trade chip, his value right now, especially after another lackluster postseason and poor attitude throughout the year, is pretty low. And it's going to be a tough sell to try and get a team to take on his long-term contract that he's on for the next 3 seasons. Ayton is a skilled player. He has the talent, the size, the footwork to be a great big man. And he's young, only 24, with room to hopefully grow and get better. But the biggest question mark surrounding Ayton is, does this guy even want to get better? Like, does he even like playing the game of basketball, or is this just a paycheck to him? Like, for most teams, you want players that are going to bring energy, the right work ethic, and positive attitude both on the court and in the locker room. And as of right now, Ayton is the opposite of that. Doesn't like his coach, doesn't give maximum effort on the court, gets caught sleeping a lot of times on defense or fighting for a rebound. So while yes, there will be a trade market for Ayton because he's a young player, he's very talented, was the former number 1 overall pick, he's not going to net you some crazy return that puts your team over the top into title contention, not after the season he just had, and especially not on the contract he's on. I do think they might be able to get a first-round pick at most for Ayton, which, great, they get a pick after trading away their future for Kevin Durant, but Ayton himself is not going to get some game-changing haul that you can build around for Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. But here's the biggest thing for me, and it's why I firmly believe this was the Suns' one and only chance to win a title this season, and why it's going to be very challenging for them to come back next season and go all the way, is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, yes, one of the greatest players in the league, an all-time great, arguably the best pure scorer in the game we have seen since Michael Jordan. But KD, soon to be 35, over the past really 4 or so seasons, has not been able to stay healthy. He's missed considerable time every season, and when he is healthy, he's great, no one is questioning that. But as he gets older, and again, you have him under contract until he's 37, paying him over $50 million a year at that time, and because he is so good when he is healthy, you're not going to give him up. But as he gets older, I worry that we're going to see Kevin Durant less and less available as his career starts winding down. And then what do you do if you're the Suns? Superstar player eating up a lot of your cap sheet, you traded 4 first-round picks and 2 young players to get him, and if KD isn't healthy, I'm sorry, as good as Devin Booker is, he alone is not leading your team to a championship, especially with the way he's shown up the last 2 seasons in elimination games. So where did they go? Well, I think next season could very well be their last opportunity to win a championship with this current core anyway. Chris Paul isn't getting any younger. He could very well be on his way to retirement after next season before he hits 40. Their window to win is now. And as I said, that window is so incredibly small after going all in on an aging star in Kevin Durant. I would love to hear what you guys think though. What do you think the future holds for the Phoenix Suns? Was this it in terms of their shot at a title, or do they still have some time to figure things out? Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.